What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's game week 51 here on SORARE NBA. We're deep into the NBA playoffs now. I'm going to run you through my particular lineups. Some guys I think are going to be good for plays this week. And also I'm going to run you through some of the lineups I had from last week and see how we did in the rewards for it and where we are sort of standing with the credits and points that have been awarded in the postseason. I'll also run you through who won the SORARE Swingman Society Mini League, who won it in Limited Contender, who won the Quinton Grimes, and also the prize for this week. There'll be a link to get involved in the Mini League in the description down below. I've not got too much time today, so I'm not going to be able to edit this one like I normally would, but stick with me. We'll run through this, and in any case, let's jump into it. Quick bit of housekeeping before we jump into it like we normally do. If you are enjoying the content that I'm doing here on this channel, it would mean a lot to me if you hit the subscribe button. It's completely free to do and it just helps me out more than you could possibly imagine. Drop a like on this video and also comment down below to get involved with a chance on winning the limited card if I finish in the rewards on the free-to-play common side, the pickup mode. Let's take a look at my lineups. Right, so as you can see, we just missed out on Rare Champion 235 in the world. The slightly annoying thing with this would have been if I'd played Anthony Edwards over either of these, I would have hit a reward this week. Devin Booker with a 99 was the big carry for it, though. It's just so tough on Rare Champion that you have to be 155. I don't understand why you have to be top 150 for a tier 3, and then there's only 5 places afterwards that give you a tier 4, but that's for another video. But in any case, yeah, we just missed out on that one. We did hit a 192 in Limited Champion, which secures us a tier 2 limited card. We did fall outside of the tier 3 rares, which are for the top 150. Playing John Morant for that one particular game was the payoff. I didn't think he'd get 95. I can't claim props for that. But in any case, yeah, we hit a nice limited tier 2. There's a good pool that are inside of it if I quickly show you them now. Prize pool, tier 2s, and go through it here. Inside of this, you got Aaron Gordon's, you got Wiggins, Brandon Ingram's, D'Lo's, Brolos, Jimmy Butler's in here, Kyrie I think is here, Trey Young's, Tobias Harris, Time Lord, not Time Machine, Pascal Siakam. So there's loads of good ones as a tier 2. I'm not going to complain at it. I'm happy to win the reward for it. In terms of where we're standing for the playoffs, we are week 2 into the playoffs now. Obviously, we're going into game week 3 for game week 51. We're currently scooping 400 in Rare Champion with 560 points. Rare Contender, we've just not hit. Our lineups for Rare Contender have just been, like this week, I was 38 away from a reward. Rare Champion, I was only 9 away, and Limited Contender, I was only 14 away. But in Limited Contender, we're on the cusp, I think, of getting the 100 credits. 326 is the cutoff, and where are we right now? 323. So we're in and around it. So as long as we keep getting decent-ish lineups with scores that are just ticking over, we should be okay for some credits there. Red Champion, I am sitting 141st in it. Hopefully I can sit in this sort of area for the 400. It would be good to get up in the aboves. It all depends on what teams go through and where my gallery's looking like. Rare Contender, I think, is going to be a little bit tough. We're sitting at 252, and the cutoff point is 350. I don't think Rare Contender is going to hit for us. It just depends on, as well, what teams go through. And with Limited Champion, we're sitting at 468, and you need 488. So Limited Champion as well has the ability to happen. It all depends, though, on Joel Embiid's fitness. But let's take a look at my lineups for this week. So we'll start with the free-to-play common mode. And I know that a lot of people are going to be looking at this here going, okay, well, they've only got 1 fixture or 2 fixtures and so on and so forth. Or like the Sixers, because they got the sweep, they've currently got a TBD. What does that mean? How's this going to work? If we go back to this one here, the original calendar that SORARE done, by the way, if you're not following me, follow me on Twitter, George_St. or at SwingmanPod. They'll be the ones that you can get me on. In any case, for SORARE NBA, these are the schedules that we've done. These 3 are confirmed, these 4 are confirmed, I should say. These 5 are confirmed, I should say, and these 3 are tentatives. Basically, all this means is that they can't confirm the schedules in the games that are being played because there isn't a schedule yet to be confirmed due to games not going beyond 4-0, for example. The only team that are currently mathematically through would be the Sixers on the sweep. And that's just how it's going to go. With that being said, you can also just think of it in terms of, if you look at playoff schedules and you can go through things here, you can see the Lakers Grizzlies are 2-2. The Kings Warriors are at the moment, they're on a game 5 that's going to happen. Suns Clippers, they're going to have a game 5. Anything can happen around these sort of ones. So you just need to understand where games are going to be sort of played, when they're going to be held, and if they're going to be held within this sort of time constraint. The time constraint being, obviously, game week 51, 24-30. That's what you need to know. You need to see if games are going to be scheduled and slated to play on or before April 30th. And again, to help you do that, you can look to a bracket just to sort of imagine where you think teams are going to be playing and how long they're going to go. For example, you can see here Denver 3-1, Phoenix 3-1. If the Suns get it wrapped up, I think they're playing tonight, our time, UK time for me. If the Suns get it wrapped up, then they'll be moving into the conference after this one, into the semis. Same thing with the Nuggets. Obviously, they lost the Timberwolves last night, but it can all depend on what happens. Kings Warriors is at 2-2, so you've got another at least 2 games to be played in that series this week before it comes through. So if you'd see any conference semi-final games, Grizzlies Lakers, same sort of thing. They've got another 2 games at least if they're going to go through. That's if the Lakers win both of them. Sixers are obviously already through into the semis. The Celtics have got to win 1 more game. The Knicks need to win 1 more game, and the Heat need to win 2. But obviously, you think if the Bucks are going to go through, they're going to win 3 games to go through, and that's how you have to sort of decipher it. So even though if you go back to here and you can see that it will only have the Bucks playing 2, for example, if we scroll all the way up, they only have 2. There will be a plus sign here, and this is just determining that there can be more games in there. So just think of it in that regard. This one's 1 with the Celtics because, like we saw, if we go back to this here, they can be playing the Sixers, and if they get that first game wrapped up, I think there will be at least 1 Sixers-Celtics game in this game week in the semi-finals to score on SORARE. So just keep that in mind. Right, we got that done. With all that being said, this is what my lineup's going to be. So I'm going to have I'm going to have Giannis Antetokounmpo as my MVP. I know he's probably still questionable officially on the injury report. I personally think he's going to come back for at least one of these games. If he doesn't make it back and they go 3-1 down, I would be gobsmacked if he doesn't appear for a game 5 necessarily per se. But I'm going to run with Giannis. I'm also going to run with Jimmy Butler, primarily because he scored really, really well in all of these games. I don't see that changing. I know Tyler Hero's gone, but Jimmy's just the actual focal point of Miami completely. And in the playoffs, he's such a good scorer here on SORARE across everything that he does. All the metrics that are collected on SORARE, Jimmy does well in on the playoffs. They're my first 2 guys. I'm going to pick Ja Morant as the 3rd one. I know the Lakers are up 2-1, and I know the Lakers are probably now the favourites to go through, even though they wasn't beforehand. But at 36, he's really low. He's come off the back of that 95-point game. I know he's still going to have that injury doubt with his hand, but I'm going to run with him in terms of on the 36 side of things. And now that leaves me 19 for 2 more spots. My cheaper guy is going to be Caleb Martin at an LTO 14. It's just quite too low for him. There's at least 2 games left. I think there'll be more than this. He's been seeing a bit of an increased role due to Tyler Hero going down and them having to switch up things. He got a double-double in the last game. So for 14, I think he can get double with L10. So I'm going to run with that. He'll be my guy in the playoffs for this one as the cheaper one. And then the guy I'm going to pick up here, it's because it says he doesn't have a game. That's why I can't find him. If we scroll down here, it's going to be Paul Reed I'm going to run with. And this is primarily because of the issue running currently with Joel Embiid. Now, when Joel Embiid's out, Paul Reed's usage goes up. It's just how it works. 1 + 1 is 2. This is what happens. Embiid is a doubt due to the knee sprain that he suffered in the 3rd game against the Nets. I think that his official line is that he's going to be back for like game 2, game 3. If Embiid's Embiid, he'll want to be on the floor for game 1. He's not going to want to sit that out because if Boston, that is going to be a series of momentum. If Boston take game 1, then you're looking at sort of the staggered approach of that they'll dive onto game 2 and so on and so forth. I don't see Embiid sitting the whole thing, but I can see minutes restrictions. And Paul Reed at 21 has shown that when he can come in on these playoff games, he can score really well at circa 52 with the Nets here. So in general, even though that wasn't part of the playoffs, that was just a general score from before, he shows what he can do on the floor. So at 21, I really do like him. And if I look at the other options that I've got here, because I really want to play Caleb Martin in this lineup, I could play a Kuminga. If I could stretch to Kevon Looney, I would, because he's been playing really well, especially in this King series. But if I do that, I'm then at 44 for a Jimmy if I want to let go of him. I can't get LeBron. I don't want to downgrade to anybody else necessarily. I think Ja Morant at 36 is too good, and there's no one realistically at the 12 mark, I don't think. I don't want Blake Griffin. So for me, this is the no-brainer pick. It will be Paul Reed here, and that's what I'm going to run with. I could go Kuminga, but I think Paul Reed will be a better option. So that's it. As ever, if I do finish inside the rewards on this particular game mode, I'll be giving the limited card away. Just leave your SORARE handle in the comments down below. Just leave your SORARE handle. Actually, do you know what? What are we going to say this week? They haven't announced the regular season MVP yet. Who would your regular season MVP be? That's what I want to know particularly. It's either going to be Jokic or Embiid. I don't think Giannis is going to win it, but let me know who you think it's going to be before it's announced. Right then, for game week 50, as ever, we're doing each week on the NBA playoffs. If this is the first time you're watching me, if you come first in our particular mini league here, the Swingman SORARE Society, we're giving away a card to who comes top of limited contender. Teg 13 won this week. Xavier Tillman 54, a Marcus Smart 64, a Gabe Vincent 28, a Torrey Craig 43, and a Norman Powell 68. I think that was off of his big 40-point game against the Suns. Yeah, so big scores there for Teg. He's won by like 35 points this week, so big congrats. Quinton Grimes was the reward, the New York Knicks guard. That's the reward this week. Shoot me a DM on Twitter, like you saw my handle before. Everything will be in the description to get in touch with me, and I'll get that card sent across to you as soon as possible. What's the reward for Game Week 51? I hear you ask. So this is the card that I'm going to be giving away this week. It's a Luke Kennard of the Memphis Grizzlies, obviously one of the best shooters in the NBA playoffs right now that are currently going on. There is scope and utility that he can be available for the next round, but if not, he's a great card for next season in any case. All you have to do is to stand with a chance of winning the Luke Kennard is join the league. There's 218 of you now. It's great to see. There will be a link in the description to get involved. And yeah, if you come top of the limited contender mode in Game Week 51, you will win the Luke Kennard. The team I'm running for limited contender this week, I've already got pre-built, so we're going to run with it. Paul Reed, like I've mentioned before, if Joel Embiid is sitting for one game or on a minutes restriction, I really like him at 21. Tobias Harris at 27 came off that like 50 to 60 score that he had the other day. Again, if Joel Embiid sits, Tobias Harris will have an increased role, and he's been doing really well in the playoffs in general for what Tobias Harris is. I think he's really settled into this sort of 3-4 unit. I mean, I have a sixer shot on it in any case here, but regardless of it, he's been doing well as that sort of third or fourth role guy on the floor behind Embiid, Harden, and Maxey, obviously. D'Anthony Melton at 20, I like a lower L10 pick. Not been hitting the highs of what he's done in regular time, well, in various times throughout the regular season, but at 20, he fits in the limited contender. He's a steady Eddie, like a Bruce Brown. I'll take it. Jared Vanderbilt has been hugely disappointing, I'd say, on the SORARE side of things since he's joined the Lakers, I'd say, and especially off of coming from where he was at the Jazz. He's had the occasional game, but nothing too exciting. But at an L10 of 14, it is really low for him. So I will pick him, considering he's going to play at least 2, potentially 3. And then Dylan Brooks, I don't really love at 27, if I'm going to be honest. He's been terrible this playoff series, I can't lie. He has his moments where he can be a great scorer on SORARE because of his defensive side, but his offensive game has been awful in this series. I'm going to run him just because I like him more than the options that I've got. I can't fit Aaron Gordon in, otherwise I'd have played him, even though he's only got one game here. So yeah, I'm going to run Dylan Brooks. There's a chance he does well, but yeah, I'm not confident about my limited contender team, I will say that. Limited champion then. Now, as you can see, there is a big Joel Embiid playing. I haven't got an Embiid size hole in my lineup. I'm going to run with him. Like I said, I know he's questionable officially and there's doubts around his playing time. I think he'll come back for at least one of the games. I've just got to hope that, realistically, I need to hope that the Celtics beat the Hawks so they go straight into the semis and then they play games in this game week. If not, it's probably going to be toast for me. But I'm not going to go out and buy a really expensive MVP for this one game week when Embiid is just a doubt. He's not officially out. So that's where I'm going to roll with. Apart from the Embiid, which I'm doubtful over, I really like this lineup though. Ja Morant at 36, like I've said, on the pickup side, I think is really low for him. It's because he's come off those sort of end of regular season ones where he had his minutes cut and he was getting lesser minutes in general. So he's now L10 has come down as a result in a really good time for it. Tyrese Maxey at 38, quite high for him, but I'm going to run him anyway just because he fits this lineup. Jordan Poole 32, at least 2 games against the Kings. If Draymond's not starting in this lineup and Jordan Poole's playing, there's scope that he can get more and more. 32 is high for him, but there's a chance he hits in the 40s. And then PJ Tucker is this sort of role piece that I bought at the start of the playoffs because, like I said in my playoff video, everyone forgets that PJ Tucker is a really good basketball player. It's just that he's 37 years old and he's not going to do it in the regular season. So that is my reasoning for it. There's a chance he can get in the 20s, he can get in the 40s, he can get in the 40s, he can get in the 50 plus, and it's all dependent on if Embiid plays. Rare Contender has been a big stinking pile of meh for me this NBA playoffs, and it's because it's like I said, I thought it would be the hardest one to predict, and I think it is in general. I picked up Javon Carter because I thought he'd get a bit of an increased usage role, but it seems to be going to Joe Ingles and Pat Connaughton. Javon Carter's not really played as many minutes as I thought he would play in this, and this is one of the ones, the only few that I've got wrong. I've not got many of them wrong, but Javon Carter would definitely be. I thought he'd have a bit more of a usage role in this sort of backup unit because of his experience that he's got, but not the case. We might see it in a different series. Maybe it's just a Miami one that Mike Budenholzer's not really loving, but we'll see it in any case. KCP, 1 game against the Timberwolves. He might get 20, and there we go. Sam Hauser, again, one of the guys that's got good minutes, but he's just pure cardio at the moment. They've probably only got 1 more game in this series, and then they could go to the Sixers. He's not going to be getting anywhere near 18, but I'm going to play him on the off cuff. DeAndre Ayton should be dominating and cleaning the glass against the Clippers again, but DeAndre Ayton doesn't seem to do it. I prefer him over playing RJ Barrett, even though there's potential that this will go more than one game as opposed to the Sixers one, because I think they'll get the job done against the Lakers in the next game. But again, I'm gonna run it with Ayton. And then we've got Marcus Smart here, who has been doing really well in terms of scoring. So if anyone's gonna pop off in this lineup, it will be him that can help push me up some points towards the next round. I do like the look of that. I've got a Jaylen Brown, I've got CP3, so I've got players and cards that can help me going throughout the end of the playoffs and towards the backstretch. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But yeah, this is what we've got currently set up for it. And then my final lineup will be Red Champion. I'm going to run Jimmy Butler back, run it back one more time as this MVP. He's just been phenomenal in this series against the Bucks. I can't really ask for much more. He's been putting up high scores each game. The 62 is the outlier, obviously. I still think he's got one more in him at least. Depending on if Miami win that game or not is another question, but I think he's got another big score definitely in him. Devin Booker coming off the back of those humongous 55s, 54 and a 75 game, which with the bonus was a 99 for me. It is probably only one game against the Clippers, but I think they're going to get it done. I don't see the Clippers beating them. So I'm going to run him for that particular game, because also it means I can get Jrue Holiday, Andrew Wiggins, and Caleb Martin in. And like I've said, Caleb Martin at 14 is really good. I like Wiggs at 28. I think he's got a couple more big games in him now that he's starting to warm up and shake off some of the rust that potentially he was holding back. And also Jrue Holiday at 38. If Giannis does sit a game, I think he has a game in him where he's not come out yet necessarily for it. Brolo and Chris Middleton have been good, but I'm expecting the Jrue Holiday game to come soon. So yeah, I could play Jaren Jackson Jr. As an MVP across these two games, but he hasn't been lighting it up in terms of scoring necessarily. He's projected well, but not necessarily on it. So this will be my lineup that I'll run for it, and yeah, we'll go from there. And then, like I promised, I'd run through some guys that I think will be good this week. As you can see, everyone's projecting 0 across the board on SORARE data. I don't necessarily trust the projections all the time. They're just using of an indication of historical stats plus team performance data to get their projections. And obviously they can't put a projection out right now because they don't know how many games are playing and who they're playing. The teams I would target would be the Warriors and the Kings, because you know they've at least got another 2 games, probably more. I don't see either of these teams winning the next 2. I think this will go 7, so you should get 3 games out of them. Don't come back and hate on me if it doesn't. I like Malik Monk at 24. I think he's a good pickup here. De'Aaron Fox at 38 is arguably too low as well, especially for his fourth quarter antics that he's been doing. Is a really solid one. Kevon Looney at 26 is just starting to pick up a bit too much. Let me sort it by L10s, in fact. Kevon Looney at the 26 mark is too much. Keegan Murray at 27 is too much. Kevin Huerter at 31, I'd argue, is too much. Davion Mitchell at 15 is not bad. He's been getting decent sort of minutes and role-playing moments for when Fox is sitting in games. So Mitchell at 15 is not bad. And I like Gary Payton II at 15 as well. So there are 2 budget guys that I quite like this week, is what I would say. You can't see the full projections and stuff before it. And obviously any injuries that occur will affect rotations and so on. But in terms of guys that will get at least 2 games, potentially 3, I like Davion Mitchell, GP2, and I like Wig at 28, and I like De'Aaron Fox at 38. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it and you're liking the SORARE stuff we do, please hit that subscribe button. It helps us out more than you could imagine. Like the video and leave your SORARE handle in the comments down below to stand a chance of winning the limited card in the pickup mode. Join the Swingman SORARE Society League here on SORARE NBA. It's completely free to do. The link is in the description for it. And if you're not on SORARE, there will be a link in there as well for you to start with 1 free card when you buy 5 at auction. It's the best sign-up offer out there. Enjoy the rest of the NBA playoffs. I'll catch you next week for the next video. I might do another SORARE video in the meantime. But I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and peace.